isn't there?
There's a bit. Can you do the lighting? These two lights are off. Can you just no put them on? They're off.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everybody to the Iftar show, Friday the 8th of May. What's the date of Ramadan? I don't know. I don't want to get into a fight. I think it's 14-15, yeah? Or is it 15-16?
I'm not even sure what day it is.
It's Friday, definitely.
Friday.
Alhamdulillah, today's the first time we at the Abraham Foundation are sort of doing a live sort of show, podcast if you want to call it. I've got Sheikh Umar, the Khatib of the Abraham Foundation, here with me on the right hand side, and I've got Ustadh Zakaria Baines here with me on the left, one of our founding trustees at the Abrahamic Foundation and one of the teachers here within the adult courses section. Alhamdulillah. Okay, can you guys just confirm that all the sound and everything's okay? So if you're tuning in on the YouTube page, can you just tell me that everything's okay? You can hear us, you can see us. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, I'm hoping you're okay anyway. Inshallah, it'd be good to know. I don't want us talking for half an hour and then someone saying we can't hear you. We thought we were streaming at 7:30, by the way. Luckily, someone checked the link and we realized that we weren't streaming, but khair, inshallah. So guys, what's the purpose for today then?
Well, I think first we should start off with some questions for the Maulanas, for the Sheikhs. Just some light-hearted questions, inshallah. So we'll start off nice and easy.
Who's asking the questions?
I'll ask the questions.
You are?
Because I don't want to answer the questions, that's why I'm asking the questions. So Maulana Nasir, what's your favourite day of the week?
Favorite day of the week? It definitely has to be Friday. Not because I've got the Jummah khutbah to do.
That's a cop-out answer.
I know,
You said that because you felt like you had to say that.
No, it isn't. It's just because, alhamdulillah, I got the weekend ahead. Can breathe. Alhamdulillah, no madrasa. Jummah's done. Yeah. Hopefully, and just relax for the weekend. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Well, it's probably not Jummah now because every day is Jummah. But alhamdulillah, yeah, Friday is definitely for me.
Yeah, for me, Jummah as well. Because
you can't just copy the answers from the guy next to you. It's not one of those. It's not one of those quiz.
For me, Jummah is the same now as well because we still have online maktab.
Yeah.
So online maktab is we have the Fridays off and it's just a bit more relaxed on Fridays compared to the other days of the week.
I'm going to keep it real just because I'm the non-Maulana. Sunday is obviously the best day of the week. Sunday's family day, isn't it? Sunday's family day.
Next day is Monday.
Yeah, but Sunday is the day you get to chill with family. You don't have to worry about work. There's no teaching. There's no preparation.
You are strange.
No.
It looks like you don't go to work on Monday.
All right. I haven't worked for a while, so yeah. Okay, next question. Favorite reciter?
Favorite reciter? Maulana Umar can answer that first. Whilst I think.
As the resident Qari.
Yeah.
I like Husari. But that's because, I like Husari. I'm not too much into tone personally. I prefer that it's crisp, clear, and the tajweed is good.
Yeah, no. I agree. Yeah,
that's
what you don't like.
I don't know. You put me on the spot. Who do I like?
Actually, it depends on the day, man. Husari, most days Husari.
No, I think Husari if you're teaching or if you're in that classroom kind of environment. But just like favorite reciter, full stop. Like Minshawi, I prefer Minshawi to Al-Husari definitely. And for me, probably Mahmoud al-Banna is my favorite.
I sort of hop around quite a lot. At the moment, I don't even know his name. Qari Bukhari's, Rahimahullah's son from Pakistan, he came to England. Idrisul Hassan.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know his name.
You know, we have Qari Bukhari Sahib, Hassan al-Bukhari in Birmingham. I think it's their youngest brother. He came over, so I'm quite fond of him. I've been listening to quite a lot of his recitations from YouTube at the moment. I don't know his full name. It's something Al-Hassan Bukhari, but he came a few months ago, and his dad was one of the most senior Qurra in Pakistan, and also the Ustadh of Qari Bashir as-Siddiq from Medina Munawwara, who we've sort of studied with and host quite often. Yeah. So I got to know him from there. Alhamdulillah.
Right. Next question, a personal one. What's the nickname that your parents used to call you when you were a kid?
I'm lucky. I'm not Bengali, so I don't have a nickname.
Come on.
Yeah, I didn't have one as well, to be honest.
Now, all the Bengalis know that they've got Allah knows what they are. They might not nicknames, some of them are insults. But I didn't really have a nickname.
No.
Apart from a mispronunciation of my name,
No.
which is Nasir, became Nasir.
No, but your parents weren't mispronouncing your name. were they?
Yeah, no, but you know, my name has always been Nasir, for Pakistani parents. So,
Yeah.
Wallahu alam. So that's been my sort of
No nickname.
This is no nickname.
You
not
just
that
don't
I
want to
remember
say.
anyway.
If anybody at home who's watching knows what Mulana Omar's nickname is,
Yeah,
at
you're
home,
more than
please
welcome.
put it up on the chat.
Put in
yeah?
the comments section. I don't know, unless there's one I'm not aware of. Behind my back they had a name for me, I don't know. But to my face.
Hold on, I know someone's definitely got a nickname. The guy behind the camera.
Oh
over
yeah.
there.
No, but we didn't find out what that was, did we?
Mutahir, what was your nickname? He said make a comment. Everyone's like, if anyone knows Dr. Mutahir's nickname, send it in. That's not a fair question. You should have only asked that question, I think, if there was one of our Bengali trustees behind here, but they're not. One of them's on the radio station at the moment.
Okay,
Go on.
next we'll save that question for the Bengali panel, inshallah. Next one. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
That's to him first.
Why me first? Why
I don't
are you pointing on all to me first?
I started first.
Because you're the Avengers
If I
fan,
had a
that's why.
superpower.
You're the Avengers Marvel guy.
I don't know, man. Probably, I don't know. Probably become invisible.
Okay, you have to justify why, because that's a dodgy one.
So
That.
why do you want to become invisible for?
You know, I don't know, man. You have more time to yourself. Sometimes you just can't be seen by nobody. Nobody can disturb you. But that's just me. I like to be.
Is that antisocial?
That's
or is
another
that-
level of khalwa that is like.
Oh, I was going to say.
Or you can sneak out without anybody seeing you. You get me? Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say a cheesy one.
Go on.
I was going to say I'd have a money machine.
Oh, mashallah.
But you know why?
Go on.
Because we need to build the new Abrahamic foundation.
Okay, that leads us onto our fundraising objective.
yeah. Otherwise, no thanks.
No, I would definitely probably like slow time down. That would be my thing.
Are we taking
Subhanallah.
questions from here as well? Or
No, he can feed in the questions.
If
from
people
there.
have questions, please let us know.
Go on, what are they?
Yeah, go on.
That's it, Qari Anwar al-Hassan Bukhari. I thought it was Anwar al-Hassan al-Bukhari. What did I say? Yeah, that's it. I like him. So I know he does a lot of tartil viewers, Qari Anwar al-Hassan al-Bukhari. I know he does a lot of, qira'ah and tartil. But if you go onto YouTube, he's got a page where he just does hadran and he recites normal as well, which is absolutely beautiful. And there's some recitation of his father, which must be from, the early 1900s, somewhere 1940, 50, 60, which is beautiful as well, which is, like you said, very husri, monotone, clean, crisp, clear. Yeah, sorry, go
is that
on.
all on YouTube?
We've got some deep questions here. So
Go on.
What small act do you like doing the most that brings peace to your heart?
Subhanallah.
Nice.
Is that Yusuf?
Abu Yusuf.
Yusuf Tahsin. Yeah, Yusuf Tahsin, what's your nickname?
Yeah, if you answer that question, we'll answer your question now.
What was the question?
That's a
Ustadh
good
Zakaria
question.
can answer that one.
That's a good question. Small act. Sorry, what was it?
What small act do you like doing that brings peace to your heart?
You need to put it in the microphone so people can hear it.
A small act
That brings peace to
that
your
brings
heart.
peace to my heart. I'm just trying to think. I mean, from a spiritual perspective, definitely nothing brings peace to the heart like dua does, like communicating with Allah. Just from a dunyawi perspective, just seeing my kids grow up, nothing brings peace to the heart like that.
Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. Yeah, we can ditto that. I'm going to go a bit. For me, I think seclusion is probably a time when you get some peace to your heart. So just being away from everything, and in particular being around just Allah's creation. I'm talking about getting out of the cities and just, subhanallah, when we go for Umrah and you go to the top of Jabal Nur, and especially we go when it's like dead at night time, and you just get that chance to just sort of have a look at Allah's creation from a summit. You get to see the beauty. If you travel quite often, you get to see Allah's creation. I think that is amazing for me when I can see and you can just say Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, glory to Allah, and feel Allah's qudra and Allah's power and Allah's capabilities in front of you.
For me, it has to be Quran, man. Reciting Quran.
Microphone.
I find the most peace in reciting the Quran. Obviously, not just reciting, contemplating over reciting as well. Because you feel Allah's talking to you, and you get that peace, man. Nobody around, it's you and Allah, you in the Quran, and I don't feel peace like that in other stuff. In other ibadat. The way I feel personally, I feel with Quran, I don't feel with other ibadat.
Yeah, mashallah.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Good question, Abu Yusuf Tahsin. Any more?
Yes, we've got loads more.
Oh
You
my
got more
God.
over there?
We got the punishers back as well.
Next question is, For
Isn't it
the,
funny shows? Yeah.
you got some there.
I don't have a phone, so get a move on.
How come psychics never win the lottery?
Because they're
They
not
don't-
psychic.
Yeah, they don't exist. There's a video about that going around. You remember that guy? He goes, I can predict the future. And one guy interviewing him, get one slap on the face. He goes, if you can predict the future, could you predict that?
Yeah.
So it's all nonsense, man.
I was gonna say that Latifa, we call it in our language. Ustadh told us that Latifa as well. Somebody said, I can read your palm and tell your future. And he goes,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Gave him one tamasha. And he goes, you didn't see that coming, did you?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
similar thing, isn't it? You have like people going around saying they can cure X, Y, and Z. It's like, I mean, why don't you have a contract with the NHS? Like, you should not be.
I've
Yeah.
got jinns under my control. Well,
Yeah.
if you had, then why can't you go and, help the Muslims by removing some really
Exactly.
horrible people? But, the world would be a peaceful place if I had, a few jinns under my control. Can you
Mm.
imagine? I wouldn't be poor. I would have like the gold mines being emptied and brought to my back garden and everything else. And, I would tell you which party would have won the election. But, Allahu A'lam. Out of our control.
Hmm.
Next question. What do you enjoy teaching the most?
What do you enjoy teaching the most? Ustadh Zakaria should have that. He's the adult course's main
That's
teacher. we
easy.
have.
The most enjoyable thing to teach is qaida, is teaching the Quran, literally teaching the alphabet.
Really?
Yeah.
I was actually going to say the same as well. Probably
Yeah.
because being around kids.
I'm talking about teaching new Muslims or even teaching adults.
Yeah, no, I prefer just teaching the If you were to ask me out of all the classes, the adult classes, the Arabic, the tafsir, the fiqh, and all the rest that you do, I think the most fun you get to have is just being in a classroom with the 6, 7, 8-year-olds.
Yeah, no.
That's
So mine isn't fun. It's just like it's the most rewarding thing because I mean,
Yeah.
so for me personally, obviously I love reading and preparing my lessons. If I'm doing fiqh or I'm doing hadith or something like that, that's probably something that I benefit most from, like intellectually.
Yeah.
But in terms of like taking somebody who's probably they became Muslim 10 years ago, they just haven't got around to it, or there've been so many failed attempts at trying to read the Quran, or perhaps they learnt when they were younger and they had loads of mistakes, and then correcting them later at a later age. Just taking them through that and having them read, Juz' Amma or something. There's nothing.
What would
nothing
your
better
tips
than
be for people who are struggling with qaida and stuff? What's the
Oh,
best
hold
way?
on. I was going to say he's got patience because you don't see that much in the adults. That's why I chose the children, because you can see them come in at 6, 7 years old, and you can see them at 10 years old reading Quran. You think, and then you see the adult courses lot come in, and you think 4 years, and you still haven't finished your qaida. I told you to learn a page, and you haven't done it. So, Allah, you got patience, Ustadh Zakaria.
Yeah. No, it's got the
I
skills.
find the opposite, man. I find the kids don't listen. I find the adults listen more than the kids.
Yeah, I love the kids.
Yeah, adult course is a bit more
The kids tell
enjoyable
you how
to
it
teach.
is.
The kids want sorry.
They tell you how it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
frank.
Yeah. No, the adults are fine, mashallah. Alhamdulillah.
Go on, next one.
What's your one favorite dua you recite the most?
The Punisher, astaghfirullah. Oh, Allah save me from the fire of Jahannam and punishment. Whoever the Punisher is.
And
Punisher,
the
you need to
Punisher.
change your name.
I know.
Islamic
Yeah.
is haram to have your name, man.
Yeah.
Haram to have your name. Become the comforter and not the punisher. So I seek refuge from the punishment and all those who punish, and from the punisher. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. That's my
Ameen,
dua,
ameen.
especially for you.
Yeah.
Go on, then let's move on. We got like 50. Yeah, actually, go on. Ustadh Zakaria, carry on. You can.
More questions?
No,
What you want? A dua?
no, go on then. You can. I'll give you my dua.
دعاء ايش هو بدعاء الاستغفار اللهم انت ربي لا اله الا انت خلقتني وانا عبدك that one
Sayyidul Istighfar.
yeah
Yeah? Beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know. You asked me that day in the radio show, and I was thinking, it depends on your situation, what you're going through, man. Because sometimes different du'as.
Which one comes out like automatic from your mouth 24/7?
ربنا آتنا في الدنيا comes out the time. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة comes out the time. But I think
That's your favorite dua, isn't it?
That's
the easy,
No,
simple
that's
dua, that's why.
that's autopilot dua
that's
all.
yeah my Sayyidul Istighfar comes out for me because I'm constantly in need of doing istighfar.
No, but I think if it's autopilot, I think it's beautiful as well, because the dua is so comprehensive.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we turn away from that. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. It asks for the goodness of the world, goodness of the akhirah. What more could actually a person want? And it's a dua from the Quran as well. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only got one question left, and it's the most important one, I think. So, would you rather get into a fight with a human-sized hippopotamus or a giant cockroach? And you have to explain why.
A human-sized hippopotamus or a giant cockroach.
Yeah.
So what does a giant mean? Is it like far bigger than me?
Like bigger than you, yeah.
Like proper giant, like
Not like proper giant.
like I'm
Let's
the
say-
cockroach
let's say
and
as
he's
big
the
as
human
this-
being.
As big as this here, yeah.
I think psychologically, I think a hippopotamus is tough.
Mm.
So I'll miss the human-sized hippopotamus. Yeah, because I've been to South Africa as well, and they have signs on the road saying, "Be aware of the hippos. They can come and snap you in half."
Yeah.
So I'll take the cockroach and hope that I can take on a.
Yeah, because cockroaches seem like they're a bit more brittle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So even though it's massive, you could probably give it a whack.
Nah, I'll
Hippopotamus, no matter how much you hit it, it's
I'll go for the hippo. Trust me. I'm not going. I don't like creepy crawlies. Not cockroach, man. I'll take the hippo. I'll hide under his legs or something, but not the cockroach. I don't like. I had bad experience, man. I was telling Zakaria.
So we've got an
cockroaches.
arachnophobia, yeah.
Okay.
No, spiders are not that bad now. I was telling Zakaria as well. After I went to Morocco and I seen the cockroaches, Toba, I'm not scared of spiders no more. I had a fear of spiders, but cockroaches fly, man. Spiders don't fly. You can avoid spiders, you can't avoid cockroaches.
Okay, we've obviously opened up some trauma here. We should probably move on.
I'm telling you.
Too much information for someone watching.
What's your favourite iftar meal?
Favorite iftar meal? Oh my gosh. I'm not too fussed about food, to be honest. I think it's just making. I think for me, the most important thing is I want quality dates. I really do. If you want to open my iftar, I don't like cheap dates. You know those older ones you used to get that in that little thin packet. I don't know what they're called. I don't want to be rude. They're from a North African country, and they're in a little white packet, and they had those little, you know, maybe it's a 99p.
The dates that put you off.
The dates that put you off from doing iftar. So for me, it's just, and I'm loving my jumbo, module, Holy Land, or Yafa dates at the moment. May Allah bless a brother that came and dropped me off a box. Just absolutely loving them. So yeah, for me, it's actually just I'm not too fussed about food, to be honest. Go on. Ustadh, I think this guy likes his takeout so
No,
much.
I don't. I'm not too fussed.
What
Even
is
now, I'm not too fussed about food, to be honest. As long
Triple
as
chicken burger or something.
no, Ramadan, man. I can't. In Ramadan, you know, it's just on about iftar, and so if it was on about generally in food, is a different topic altogether.
So
but
tell me this: do you have samosa, pakora, kebabs, and iftar time?
This year I have. Normally I don't.
Forget,
This year I have.
forget last year. Just say yes.
This year, yeah, I have because I come from my home now, and you know what he's about.
He's a fry-up person, and we actually have had literally. I think my wife made pakoras once, and that was it. We haven't had a fry-up.
Yeah, no, it's strange that the month of fasting just becomes a month of just feasting and pigging out. Because we eat stuff during Ramadan that we don't eat during
don't
the
eat
rest
all
of the
year.
year.
No, alhamdulillah. I think it used to be, but
be,
I've moved away from that now.
Yeah.
It's, what I say is just have a normal meal.
I think a lot of people are moving
have a
away from that
normal
now.
meal. We just have a lot of dosage of fruit at the beginning, which is and obviously the dates.
Yeah, that's probably the only difference. Other than that, just a normal meal.
Yeah. May Allah bless. I can't remember who said that about feasting, but it really came home with me. You know that saying that we were supposed to be fasting and starving ourselves, and instead of fasting, we're feasting.
That's true.
Yeah.
What was the point of Ramadan, and what were we supposed to gain out of it? I think that really came home to me to understand that, you know, the feast is Eid al-Fitr. That's where the feast is. That's where the party is. When the iftar comes at the end, you know, if you want to do Qurbani and Ramadan Eid, do it as well if you want. Yes, it's not wajib, but do it and have a proper feast there, inshallah.
I think especially in lockdown as well, because most people don't have to get up and go to work. People are sleeping until about 1.
Yeah.
You wake up, you got about 8 odd hours, and then you just have a massive meal. I mean, that's not what the fast is about.
I know people out there, look, I'm looking into the camera now, that are waking up literally at 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
No way.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I was speaking to someone yesterday and he goes, we have to wake him up for iftar, yani from post-suhoor. So all sleeping is like post-suhoor, all the way till iftar.
As long as
Maybe he would have been sinning during that time.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Alhamdulillah, it's better than
to
sinning,
be
isn't
asleep.
it? Our teachers used to say that if you can't do nothing useful, go to sleep. At least you're not sinning.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Guys, so what are we here for? Can we just drop that in somewhere?
We got a question here, you know, from Brother Wahid, who's had Abrahamic Foundation start, and where do you see it in the next 5 years? Are we coming on to that now?
Was that question planted? Is that like
No, that
Tahir's
was
got a second account there?
Well, he's one of those psychics, I think.
And we've got one of the founding trustees. We've got one of the founding trustees here, Ustadh Zakaria. Go on.
Gee, I think you'll probably tell this better.
No, just you
Because
start.
I'm really bad with timelines.
Oh gosh, you see the smile wipe off my face. Someone's going to say
8 years.
2000 and... See, there was a stage when we were just meeting and conversating about our idea of having having a place which is now called the Abrahamic Foundation, and that used to take place in Dr. Shahrul's front room.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Dr. Shahrul's front room.
How can I forget?
No, actually not in Dr. Shahrul's front room. It was
that thing above on Dudley Road.
On Dudley Road, on top of the furniture store.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah.
We used to. I think they used to hire that out for some Islamic events, or it was a venue. You guys opposite. If you're from this Medic side, opposite Hassan Supermarket. Is it Hassan Supermarket? Yeah, opposite it. There's a furniture shop, and on top of that, I think he used to hire it out. And one of our trustees used to use that, and at the end we used to have a meeting there. We had a few meetings there. It started off actually there, on top of that shop in an empty room, I think, sitting on the floor with nothing in there, and just having a discussion about how, people like Ustadh Zakaria, people like myself, Dr. Shahrul, and many of us that were sort of making an effort in our own capacities, how we should come together and do something. So it started there. I think that was around about 2000 and... I think 9, 10-ish. I think 10.
No, it's probably after that.
Is it after that?
Yeah. It's about 12.
Nah, it couldn't have been because we moved in this building in 13.
11 maybe.
-2 in the old building. So it was definitely 9, 10. You were wrong with your timelines. It was definitely 2009, 10 when the conversation started. Yeah.
Maybe.
So that was that. Conversation.
That was before you had the other building.
Before we had anything.
Yeah. This is when we had
I remember that building.
No, we didn't have nothing then. So it was just us meeting up, having conversations, thinking about names, thinking about what we wanted to do, what we wanted to create, creating a charity, registering a charity, getting a few people to start donating on a monthly basis. Subhanallah, I actually don't even know who those brothers and sisters were that began to donate what it was, £5, £10 a month. And then eventually in 2011 was when we saw a property.
That sounds right, yeah. I remember that because I graduated in 2010 and I got roped in to be the first sort of like center manager person.
I don't know what you were, I don't know what those people were, what you were I don't know. Here's the new Abrahamic Foundation, just do something.
But we did something, yeah. We got stuff off the ground, which
we did. So we were previously, the McDonald's on Dudley Road, just behind that in those run-down buildings. We were on the ground floor there, right under the Afghan mosque, Masjid Abu Bakr Siddiq. So we started there 2011, 2012-ish. We did 2 years in that really damp building. It was dark, and Ustadh Zakaria was painting, Dr. Shahrul was painting. We had just volunteers coming in and clearing it up and trying to make something out of it.
That building was so cold. That's all I remember.
There was no gas in the building.
We had that massive fire at the back there.
Yeah. We had those heaters that you have like in tents and stuff.
Those burners, big like massive flamethrowers.
Yeah, flamethrower type. Yeah.
We had one of those, and even with that, it was still freezing.
Yeah.
I remember.
Alhamdulillah. What was the question again? From Wahid. So that's where it started.
Yeah. And I think from the very beginning, we've always, even in those meetings in that initial building that we used to have, there was always this sort of ultimate objective where we're trying to work towards a masjid or a center that tended to this, not just the spiritual needs of the community basically, so educational needs, whether it's social needs, domestic needs, and this sort of balancing of deen and dunya, and modelled on the Prophet ﷺ's masjid, and that's something that we've been saying for a long time now. And even in that building, that's where a lot of the educational stuff started.
Yeah. The madrasa started.
The adult courses started.
I don't know what it was even called.
It was still Lighthouse.
It wasn't. It was called something else. Adult courses started there. You were the first adult courses coordinator.
Yeah.
We started them there. Monthly talks started there.
Yeah, I remember they used to be packed.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, that's when I first came. I first came to a monthly talk in that building.
Yeah.
It was Sheikh Yusuf Dhahabi had a talk, and I came to that one.
Yeah, I remember a few talks we had. There was nowhere to sit. There were people standing. It was so packed out. Yeah. So.
And then in 2012, the building that we're sitting in today sort of came available, and alhamdulillah, from there it sort of snowballed to us purchasing this building. Alhamdulillah, and with your support again, the community came together, and we put the Abrahamic Foundation together, and we actually had a building that was a bit more fit for purpose. Alhamdulillah. The madrasa then expanded from like 2 classes to Like we have now, I think 10 classes. The Tahfidh class started, the adult courses then moved on. We then started looking at delivering, because myself and Maruf, we were doing the Umrah anyway. Shakib and some brothers were doing the Umrah anyway. And then we decided to look at doing the AF tours where we delivered the Umrah from a educational perspective. And then it sort of snowballed from there where we are today. Jummah started, I think, about a year later because we had to make so many changes to the building. And then Tarawih started the year later. And alhamdulillah, we are where we are today. Alhamdulillah. But just to say to everyone there's a lot of our trustees and founding people. It wasn't just these people sitting here. There's a lot more. But because of the social distancing, we can't get them in. So alhamdulillah, you know, we have amongst our trustees, there's female trustees. We have it's quite a diverse group of trustees that we have that come from different ethnicities. I would say different cultural backgrounds. How would you interpret the fact that they're different in their practices? They're not all, you know, we're not all from one madhab. We're not all from one sort of. We're actually very diverse in the way that we came together, but with the underlying aspect of trying to serve the community and trying to make the center a community that actually reflects the community. So it's not mono madhab, mono culture, mono language. Is that a correct word to use?
Yeah.
But rather was diverse, a reflection. We always hear it all the time, don't we, within statistics and governments that, you know, our organization should be reflective of the community. How many black minority, I think, what do they call BME, are within the community. So it was looking at how we could reflect that back in a Muslim organization where it's not based on actually a madhab or a group or a schism or a sect, if you want to call it, but rather just a center for Muslims.
Yeah, I think that was important. So everybody who was there, I was just a fly on the wall, quite honestly. I was a child. I think I probably was Muslim for about a year or something. And I just benefited being in the presence of Mullah Nasir and Dr. Shahul and all the other brothers. But everybody just had this shared vision and they had this sense of priorities, which has shaped a lot of the way that I see the community as well. So just having that and being a part of that is why you can see beyond the madhab stuff and the polemics and the back and forth and a lot of the stuff that consumes people when they start to practice or when they start to learn about deen. So alhamdulillah, we weren't afflicted with any of that nonsense.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to know because Sheikh Umar, the Imam here, he joined us sort of later.
Yeah, I joined much later.
So I don't know what you, as an external person that's joined us sort of later. You were around whilst you were studying. What did you see? What were your thoughts? What were your
in terms of the organization? Or
I don't know.
With the people in the community, I don't know. I find it very welcoming. I did it. I enjoyed it, man.
Don't feel like you have to say
no. I was, I'll tell you what. At the start, I was a bit awkward. Why is everybody being so nice? I was, cause you know, when I used to come in from a place where people are nice for no reason. Normally, people are nice to me because they wanted something. So people being nice, I was keeping my guard up. But why is everybody being so nice? Take it 1-2 people in the community, not everybody. And somebody said this a couple of weeks ago to me as well. You know, one brother come here for Jummah, and he said the same thing. Because I was a bit worried. Everybody's being so nice, and I've never experienced that in any other masjid or anywhere. Like you are saying, the non-madhab and all that. It was any other masjid I went to. They said to me, "Which your local masjid? Which masjid do you pray in?" But here, nobody gave him that hassle. Everybody welcomes everybody without asking too much. No nosiness here, which is calls
I
people
think
in.
as well, an important thing for us was to have the sisters, and next time maybe if we can get a sister on here as well.
We do have, alhamdulillah, quite a lot of sisters. Our centre manager, Sister Shabnam, please make dua for her. She's not very well. She's got fever. We don't know if she's got COVID. Doc, has she got COVID? What do you think? Yeah, one of our trustees, Dr. Mutahir, behind the camera is saying she's probably got COVID, so make dua. And Sister Shabnam, we're making lots of dua for you. Our centre manager is a female. Our first centre manager that we've ever employed is a female. Sister Yasmin, our office administrator, alhamdulillah, is a female. 2 of our trustees are females. And they play a massive role in directing where the organisation goes. Before, I think I was of the understanding that, why do you need sisters there? But they really do bring a different angle to the things that we do. They are around the table and they're challenging what we're saying, they're challenging what we're doing, they're saying, So sometimes as men we look at things differently and women do things differently. And alhamdulillah, the activities that happen within the building, the sisters have guided where we are. So alhamdulillah, from day one thing that we've had is, as a underlying rule here, is if you can't do it for sisters, you won't do it for brothers. That's something that we've had. So even when we just had Salah in this hall, I remember the first year we started Tarawih in this hall here, the Imam stands that direction. The ladies were just there praying with the partition there. And people were awkward about that, saying what's happening, and the ladies have to use the same staircase. And we used to make an announcement that brothers, just be patient a bit, let the sisters go. But we decided that it's important to include them from day one, alhamdulillah. And I think that's visible in the building, in how the ladies are so at the front of volunteering and helping and guiding and being there, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame that they get excluded and have been excluded to the extent that they have over the years, because if I reflect on the classes that I teach, the best students, the ones who always work the hardest, the ones who progress the most, the ones who help outside the class and come in prepared, they're always the sisters. The brothers are a waste of time. Yeah, so, I mean, really, I think our strength lies definitely with the sisters in this one.
So let's just talk to our vision then. Our vision at the Abraham Foundation, it was very wishy-washy at one time, where we had lots and lots of ideas and we had to pull them all together, and it came back down to, and at this time I want to make dua for brother Nabil Idami, a famous guy from Murabbi Consulting, who used to work within Islamic Relief, one of the pioneers of Islamic leadership across the world and teaching Islamic leadership. He passed away last year. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rest his soul and grant his family sabr jameel. He came down and sort of pulled it all together, and after that we'd sort of defined it down to this. So our vision here at the Abrahamic Foundation is to create a faithful, which means a community which is strong in their faith, iman, their yaqeen, their belief as Muslims, and a thriving community through the example of the Prophet ﷺ's masjid. That's what it is in a nutshell. Successful in deen, flourishing in deen, flourishing in dunya, and we want to achieve that through the example of the Prophet ﷺ's masjid being the center hub for everything that we do. And that's where we are, alhamdulillah.
So what were some of the things that were happening for people who don't know in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, and what made it different than the typical masjid that we see?
The answer to that actually is, Ustadh Zakaria is asking what was happening. I would say what wasn't happening.
Yes,
what really wasn't happening in the Prophet ﷺ's masjid. The masjid was open. There was no doors. Literally, the mosque had no doors. You know, everything's open today, but the masjids are closed. The masjid was welcoming for everyone of any faith. Allahu Akbar. People would just come in, and you know, we call this like, this is really hippie, this is really, it isn't. The Prophet ﷺ's masjid had, you know, if you go into the Prophet's mosque, Abustawan al-Wufud, where the delegations of the Jews and the Christians would come and camp out in the mosque. Can you imagine if we, you know, if we bring a non-Muslim into the building, yeah, from any faith, into a normal mosque, eyebrows, oh, what's going on here, what they're doing here, sitting at the back, you know, let's be frank. But the Prophet ﷺ's masjid had them staying in there. Living in there. The Prophet's masjid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he had prisoners of war that were chained within the masjid and were being served food and taken care of. So I don't really know what wasn't given there. The education of the community, the leadership of the community, the women in the masjid, every single thing. And that's what we want to do, is we want to turn the masjid not into Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, Isha, where open 20 minutes before, close 20 minutes after, open 20 minutes before. We want the masjid open from Fajr till the evening. And if we can, then, you know, even if we can deliver services during the night, for it to be an open place for the community. You know, at this, you know, if we were at that stage where we had that, it would be wonderful to be open to let homeless people come and stay, you know, within an area of the building. So that's where we see the Prophet ﷺ's masjid, a masjid which was really transparent, really open, a masjid that welcomed all, and a masjid which facilitated what the community needed to benefit in their deen and what the community needed for their dunya to flourish. The masjid needs to step up and do that. And alhamdulillah, I want to thank all the mosques across the country and across the world. We're one of them that, you know, before, would you see this and that and that and this stream and, you know, what we set up today. We've all become mini studio managers and trying to do a stream of our webcams. But, you know, this is a stepping up, and this is what we want to see. The masjid step up in every age, every time, and to do whatever is needed in their communities.
I think that's important. So I reflect on, like, going to Egypt and seeing in Saudi Arabia, a lot of the time the masjid just becomes, it's just a musalla essentially.
Yeah.
There's not much else that's going on there. But for us, and a teacher of mine made this point, he said, us living in the West, the masjid essentially becomes from the sha'air ad-din. So like, it's literally a hallmark, or it's a sign of the deen. It's the spring where people are educated from, people come and learn their deen from. So when we fund the masjid, which we'll get onto later on, or when we're donating to a project like the Abrahamic Foundation, you're not simply just funding somewhere where people go and pray. It's much, much more than that, especially when we live as minorities in the West.
I don't know, Ustadh Umar.
It's true. I think he needs to facilitate for the needs of the community. So whatever the needs of the community may be, in particular the Muslim community as well, he needs to facilitate for everything. So if the masjid is not doing that, then we need to
because if you think about other countries, right? So if you're in any other Muslim country, they'd be getting their Islamic education at school.
Yeah,
there's an Islamic culture. They'll be praying at home. Like there are so many other ways for them to get the tarbiyah that they essentially need to have, this sort of cultivating of their Islamic identity. But where is it here? We're constantly fighting against these kind of things here. And the only place really where it can happen on any reasonable or decent scale is via the masajid.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why we're sitting here today. Alhamdulillah, we've come to the stage where we paid off the debt of this building. It was about £170,000. We cleared that with your du'as, and it was done so easily. It wasn't a large debt. And we've now come to the stage where, me and we so many people come in, so many of the brothers and sisters, Jummah congregation, they say, when are you going to do 5 times salah? And this is a hard one, and I don't want no one to get offended. What I say to them is that we can't establish salah and sacrifice the services that we give to the community. At this instance, I think the services we give to the community are far more important than 5 times salah. Because like you said, the children's iman being preserved, sisters and brothers coming in and feeling welcome and feeling a space where they can learn, new Muslims coming in and the new Muslim groups that we have here, the outreach work, may Allah bless the outreach team, Dr. Mutahir, our cameraman at the moment, him, and the interfaith work that takes place here. Even it wasn't really an intended project of the Abraham Foundation, but it just grew the most sort of biggest part of the organization. We're just dealing with our neighbors, our friends, our colleagues, our brothers and sisters from different faiths. And because of that, we're at a stage where we actually don't have capacity. I'm actually arguing with you and you from the adult courses saying, where can we fit an adult course? And I'm saying, well, actually, you can't. Madrasa finishes at 8 o'clock. We've got 180 kids coming in. They're saying, well, that's too late. We need space and time for adult courses. During the week, people need to come. We haven't got time. On the weekend, we've got the tuition center running in here. That's running at certain times. We haven't got space. During weekdays, we've got stuff that goes on. Not too much during the week, during the daytime, but we've got ample stuff going on. But we don't have enough in the key times. On the weekend, people want madrasa for the children that can't attend during the week. We can't facilitate it. Jum'ah, Allahu Akbar, during normal days is packed. And when it's holidays, we have to do 2 Jum'ahs. Literally 2 Jum'ahs. And it's a buzz to see the children, to see the sisters, to see everyone here. Alhamdulillah. And I know we have got a very small congregation because we've never publicized it. If you go past our building, it doesn't say masjid, and we're not a masjid. We don't intend on this building becoming a masjid. But we still have such a flourishing congregation, and everyone's waiting there. So that's one of the reasons why we've done the Ramadan appeal. Abrahamic Foundation's Ramadan Appeal 2020, Ramadan 1441, where we're asking brothers and sisters to donate or fundraise £500 this Ramadan. It's even more necessary now because masjid's closed. Normally, we would have had donations coming in through the buckets, we would have had them coming through Jum'ah, having them coming through Tarawih. But khair, Allah is the one. We believe that these houses of Allah are run by Allah, not by me. They are not in need of any one of us. Allah's houses run by Him. He is the one that sustains them and keeps them. But more of a reason for us to give now. So that's why we've got this appeal where we're asking families, if you can, subhanAllah, alhamdulillah, brothers and sisters can afford £500 themselves. But there might be, families out there, youngsters out there. Many of our users are from the young student community, university community, college community that may not have that money, but they're the ones that can, go on our Virgin Donate page. If you go in our link on the YouTube, you can see at the bottom, you can go in there, you can create yourself a page and just send that link out to your parents and raise £500, because what we are doing now is we're actively looking for ideally a plot of land. That's what we want. We want a plot of land. And once we find that plot of land, we need the money there to do that. And that's what we're actively doing now. One of our priorities. So, Abdul Wahid, you're saying, where do you see yourselves in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years, I would love if you were to ask me to have acquired a plot of land, to have gone through the architectural phases of where we need to be with the new building. As some of you have seen the conceptual design on our website and some of the materials that has gone out. It's conceptual design, it's not a final design. And then look at maybe then starting the fundraising for the actual building. But I would hope to get that done indeed within the next 2 to 3 years, inshallah.
Someone asked the question, they've seen the conceptual design.
Yeah.
And what's the ballpark figure do you have for overall cost?
It's a really good question. Someone's seen the conceptual design. So let me tell you what we're going to have in the building. It's not going to look like a normal masjid. It's going to look like maybe a school college, in that It's a building, it's got plenty of classrooms, 20, 30 classrooms where teaching, learning, adults, children, community. It's going to have a large communal area where you'll have the youth wing, the elderly sort of wing, kitchen areas where we can do all the community work, where we can have our iftars. We would like to have a sports hall adjacent where that can be used as an auditorium, that can be used as a overflow for the masjid on Eid and Taraweeh, etc. We'll have the masjid area, a masjid area where women and brothers and sisters will both be facilitated within that masjid area, in that one area. We'll have the area where within the masjid we'll have the library, we'll have so all of these things are being planned into the masjid, and we're looking at ideally maybe a couple of blocks where it looks like something similar to a school, where you have 1-2 blocks, you have an entrance way, you have a green area, a garden around it. So there's not going to be really a dome, and there's not going to be really a minaret, but what there will be is facilities for the community to utilize what we need. There's the tuition there for our children at the cheapest rate possible because our children need it. There's the youth wing for our children where they can come. They've got the gym there, a little small gym. They've got a little a homework area where they can do the computers, and they've got internet access. We've got a library, an Islamic library. We've got an area where there's a creche for the sisters. So when the sisters come here, we have a lot of complaints saying the kids are making loads of noise. So we want to have that where there's a prayer area for ladies and there's a prayer area for children with their families as well to sit and be there. And so it's a really big vision that we have. To say how much is it going to cost, we really can't pin it down. It's definitely in the millions. I would say probably close to 10 million, somewhere definitely in and around that mark. But what's 10 million? It really is not much for our community. Our brothers and sisters are buying houses worth 250,000, 300,000, 400,000. So, alhamdulillah, I don't think wealth has ever been the issue for the Muslim community. And why shouldn't it be an issue for us? Because we don't believe we're going to establish this. It's Allah who's going to do it, not us. Yes, Allah is the one who got us from sitting on top of a shop, in a cold, shabby shop upstairs here, with all due respect to the room we used to sit in upstairs, to the cold building with no gas, to here, alhamdulillah, this beautiful building. And moving forward as well, it's not our job, it's Allah is the one that's going to spread deen. It's not us. Allah is going to utilize us. That's what we believe. When we pray that Allah utilizes us, but for us to get there, it's moving forward. So that's where we see it, but we won't be able to give you those final marks until we have a piece of land. And the reason why we want a piece of land is because moving into a building is what?
It's a headache.
It's a headache. Even this small building, knocking a wall out, fitting a wudu area in, doing this, doing that, getting changes, it's just too much of a headache, and we don't want to waste money. Our architect told us that if you are to buy a building and move into it, you're basically going to have double, to 2.5 to triple the costs that you usually would have. So from building from scratch is what we would ideally want to do, inshallah.
Yeah, I think an important point as well with the Abrahamic Foundation is when we've moved from those buildings, or the buildings that we've moved through, there's been this very sort of gradual outgrowing of the building that we're in.
Yeah.
So I remember having conversations at the beginning, we're not moving too quick enough, we need to do this, we need to work towards the next building, but things have sort of organically grown where these services that we're talking about with the youth, the youth services, the outreach services, the educational services, these are all things that we're delivering. We're not saying, we want a building so we can deliver these things. We've already been delivering them. We've been doing them for years. But what's happened is we don't have the capacity. We just simply don't have the space, or we don't have the resources in order to deliver those things that we are fully capable of doing. And we know that there's a need in the community for those things.
That's right.
So I think it's important that people know that we're not saying donate and we will do X, Y, and Z. We have been doing them from day one.
And it's surprising that you managed to do everything from this building. After that building, when Nasir told me about a new building, and I seen all the projects and everything going on, I thought it would be a massive building. When I come and I seen this building, mashallah, it's very good, wicked compared to the other building, but compared to the projects that are going on, it shows how much of a building that we actually need for the projects that are actually happening, and inshallah any further projects as well that you may need in the future.
Yeah, so we don't have this desire, we're not itching just to get a big building. That's really not what it's about. We've maximized the use of this building for a good number of years now, but it simply just got to the point where we're saying
it's not enough.
We're actually itching to have that part of our vision, which is the masjid, because what we feel is the masjid has just lost contact with the community, where our community doesn't think, when they have an issue, they don't think masjid, they think everything else other than the masjid. And that's where we feel now, because our community has grown here and we've got so many affiliated people and people praying here and people coming through, use our services, they're all asking it. That's where we feel now where the masjid will help us really push forward our vision And I think the vision is really, really important as well, because as a Muslim organization in the United Kingdom, our vision actually isn't to be a masjid of a denomination. I call ourselves, if somebody was to say to me, what would you want to call the masjid? If I was to have a sign outside, I know you're going to laugh. I'll just call it Muslim Mosque. You get it? Just to sort of make it clear, it's just open to. It's a Muslim mosque. It doesn't have a label. Allah isn't X, Y, and Z. You get it? His Prophet ﷺ wasn't. This is a place open to all. Whoever you are, it's open to all. That's really, really important, I feel, for us to lay down the foundation and hopefully let people see that this is what something can happen. I'm tired of the Pakistani masjid, the Bangladeshi masjid, the Gujarati masjid, the I don't know. I'll use the Indo-Pak 3 here because we're the main, the Arab community masjids. I'm really tired of that now. Really am. Yeah. I think it was understandable when our parents came. They couldn't speak English, so they needed a little Pakistani community center. They needed a Bangladeshi community center, an Indian community center, and all the different Indian community centers that they have amongst themselves. I understand that was probably needed then, but me and you don't need that no more. Yeah. We don't really care. We just want a youth center. Yeah. We just want a place where we can learn, where we can take our kids for tuition, where we can take our kids to learn Arabic, where we can take our kids to learn maybe our mother tongues, where we can take our kids for Jumu'ah and they can have fun, where we can go for Taraweeh and feel welcome and just relaxed. That's where we've got to the stage where it's gone beyond those boundaries and it's gone back down to that. And that's what we envisage. That's why it's so unique in the fact that our trustees, our volunteers, our users just come from a really broad background, really broad background. And we are still trying to increase that. You can't force the background or the nature of the people that we have using the building, but it's something that we're open and happy to accept people from.
Yeah. Do you perhaps want to say something about if there are people listening sort of in the broader Birmingham area, why we chose this part of...
You tell them, I've spoke too much.
Man.
You tell them.
Are you local?
I'm not local.
No.
He's not. None of us were local. By the way, I'm a muhajir now. I'm happy to say that. I didn't realize, but I've made hijrah to this area, to Albury. Yeah. And I only did it because of the Abrahamic Foundation. So, inshallah, on the Day of Judgment, when the muhajirin get up, I'm going to try and run in the back somewhere and say, can I sneak in? Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so you heard it here first. You can potentially get in with the muhajirin if you move closer to the Abrahamic Foundation.
Move for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
No, so we chose sort of Sandwell and the Smethwick, Albury sort of area.
So North Birmingham. I'll call it North Birmingham / sort of Sandwell.
Yeah, because on my geography and my timelines are bad. So what's the other side? That side of Birmingham called?
So we're northwest Birmingham.
Yeah.
We're called northwest Birmingham. So for the back end of Edgbaston over here, I know everyone like Edgbaston, but we've got B16 over here, Edgbaston, City Road, Dudley Road. This is all Edgbaston as well. So this area, a stone throw from City Hospital, very close. This is the back end of Edgbaston, and we're just next to that. And we felt that this area, I actually felt as well, and many of us, there's a lot going on in Birmingham Central, but there wasn't much really going on here in regards to. So alhamdulillah, we've got masjids, alhamdulillah. Yeah. Allah bless them. But activity-wise, it's not like Sparkhill, Sparkbrook, Allenbrook, Small Heath, where you've got talks, you've got lectures, you've got courses, you've got the different Islamic institutes, madrasas, colleges that are teaching. We were sort of, this site seemed to be had left on the side and on itself. Yeah. So we felt let's not saturate the market over there.
Yeah, exactly. Despite the fact that there are loads of Muslims over here on this side, so that was surprising, and that's why we decided to stick. Even when we're looking for location, that's why it's so difficult, isn't it? We're looking for a plot of land, and we have been for a while. Just finding one in the right place.
So we're not coming to Allenbrook, we're not coming to Sparkhill, we're not coming to Sparkbrook.
Somebody did ask that as well. How far would you be willing to go?
We're hoping to stay somewhere in the vicinity. We feel, as we've seen it, if you have a good centre, if you give facilities, people move to you. We know this. We know people move for a school. We know people move for whatever reason. And if you've got a strong, decent masjid, we know that the Muslim community are happy to move in that direction. So if we can, inshallah, create that community, create that, we've already, alhamdulillah, got what we have here, but to take it to the next level, then inshallah we feel that we'll be happy for people or for people to move in that direction. But we do want to keep it in this area, sort of within the northwest Birmingham, sort of Sandwell area that borders over here. So I think going back to the appeal, what we want to say to brothers and sisters listening is the purpose of today's appeal is to talk about how Ramadan is the month in which a lot of change came, and we're asking you to join us on this journey of laying the foundation for us being able to purchase the next plot of land, inshallah, if Allah wills that, by making a donation this Ramadan. This donation is a Sadaqah Jariyah donation here in the UK. It's not for a donation in Pakistan or India or Bangladesh or these countries. Alhamdulillah, it's really good. But you know what? My children aren't going to Pakistan, and no one's children seem to be going to Bangladesh or India. Our children, we were born here. Our children and our third generation are here, and it's now time for us to invest in our future. And we like to say this, our mosque is our future. I don't want you to get put off, because we've given you our vision and you've seen what we've delivered and what we are delivering. We're talking about substance. We're talking about having all of the facilities that we've spoke to you about and what we've delivered, and moving forward with that vision, a vision of Muslim, a vision of Ummah, a vision of one community, a vision of working with all parts of our community. And that's why we're asking you to donate £500. Donate £500. If you can donate it, alhamdulillah, good for you. May Allah increase you in your wealth. And if you can't, then you can go in the description of the YouTube video. There is a link there to our Ramadan appeal. You can create yourself a fundraising page in a matter of just a few minutes. Send that link out and help us, inshallah. We're looking for 100 families to donate £500, brothers and sisters. 100 families to donate £500. And like I said, this is very easy when you send the link out. Now, those of you who can afford it, alhamdulillah, go ahead. But if you can't, you can create that link and make that donation, inshallah. That's... Anything else, Dr. Mutahir?
Questions?
Do you want to start closing it up? Have you got any questions on the feed? Go on. As in particular, anything about the Abrahamic Foundation, the vision, where we want to be?
F1 racer is the one that's really interested in.
Is he actually a Formula One racer? Because
stick.
Well, definitely make sure he gets the link. Yeah, £500 isn't. That's not going to be acceptable for me.
Yeah, so that is actually our vision. That is what we've told the architect. That is the conceptual design. It's not going to look like that full stop. But it's to help you understand that we are looking forward now. We're not looking here no more. We're looking forward. And we want you to move forward as well. It's going to have those facilities because we need them. It's going to have that, like I said, we know if we were a masjid, we would be blowing at the brims. If we were to tell people publicly we were a masjid and did what we did properly and publicized it, we would be blowing at the brims, alhamdulillah, but we're not there. So that's why we want to have that masjid where we have all those facilities. Our main focus this year is try and build the youth facilities. We just do not have the space to have a dedicated youth facility. We need a youth, a youth area, the big as this hall that we have here, where they can sit down, where they can relax, where they can have that chill space, where they can breathe, where we can do our youth activities, youth programs, youth workshops, but we can't have that. And that's why we're asking on this journey, you see that was placed out there for you to see intentionally, 2-3 buildings, the garden, the car parking. It's not going to be extravagant, brothers and sisters. It will not be extravagant. You will not see a chandelier for £55,000, £200,000. You will not see expensive marble laid on the floor. You will not see these type of things.
No minarets, no dome,
no minarets.
Marble.
What we're going to do, I don't understand.
Is Salah even going to be valid in this?
Of course it's going to be valid in there. I don't understand what we're going to do. Unless, subhanAllah, the muadhin's going to climb up and give adhan. We have receivers anyway, so minaret and dome is not really going to happen. We would rather have another floor where the dome is and have that space used for something within the community. So it's not going to be extravagant. You don't have to worry about the fact that, are we going to be wasting money on these type of things? No, it isn't. We want to invest the money back into the substance of our community, which is the community. We want to invest it in the youth workers. We want to invest it in the teachers. We want to invest it in the imams. We want to invest it in the services and the volunteers that volunteer. That's what we see money best spent. The worst money that can ever be spent is money spent on bricks and mortar. Bricks and mortar is the worst, but we need a facility. We need to get there, and this is your Sadaqah Jariyah, in particular for this side of, if I can say, the West Midlands, where we can be, inshallah, the pioneers in doing this. So join us on this journey. £500 this Ramadan. We're in the 14th or the 15th of Ramadan for many of us. Let's not waste it. We're asking you to pick up the phone. We're asking you to look at the link. Go on our website, support us page. You can see the way you can support us. Our bank details are there for banks transfers. Contact us via the email. Come and meet the team. Come and meet the trustees. Come and see what we do and see how you want to invest for your akhirah and invest for the generations in this country. We've waited too long, brothers and sisters. The need is now. Thank you, Dr. Mutahir, for this line. The need is here, the need is now, and the need is real. Wallahi al-azim, the need is real. You know it. If you've got sons and daughters, if you've got nephews and nieces, yes, that are living in this society, that are in university and in college, then you know that the need is real. They need the teachers, they need the inspiration, they need the imams, the younger generation, they need the open spaces to grow, to flourish, and that's why it's a chance for you to make that difference, inshallah. So make those donations. We haven't really got a phone number. The office is closed downstairs. We're socially distancing here. There's no one in the office. You've got the link down below on this YouTube page. You can donate there via our Virgin Media. You can go on our abrahamicfoundation.org.uk and you can go to support us and see our bank details there, our back transfers there, or you can contact the office at info@Abrahamic Foundation and one of the team will try and get back to you, inshallah. Yes, so any questions that we haven't answered, we're going to try and continue this every... next week, brothers and sisters, we have a virtual iftar with Qari Ziad Patel from South Africa, Ustadh Dini from the United States of America, Ustadh Zakaria, myself. We're going to be doing a virtual iftar. I know because in Ramadan we used to have so many iftars here, Allahu Akbar. We would have the interfaith iftar, the community iftar, the taste of Ramadan iftar. We would have the new Muslims iftar, and you know, Qaddar Allah ma sha. We are happy with every decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're not doing it. So we're going to be having a iftar, inshallah, where you can join us on Zoom. We'll have these speeches, and the theme is the month of Ramadan, the month of change. What was the theme? Was that the title? The month of power. I can't remember the title, but it's about how Ramadan was the month in which so many amazing things in our history took place, and how we need to use this as our changing moment for us here. So please do join us, all of us, families. It's free to join. It's a Zoom meeting. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward Qari Ziad Patel and Ustadh Dini for accepting our invitation. It will be for 1 hour, inshallah. We'll have some inspirational talks and some reminders, and then we're going to sit there and open our iftar. I don't think we'll stop a few minutes before iftar, inshallah, but have a collective dua. Jazakumullah khairan. Any other questions? Anything else, Ustadz? Shuyukh? Jazakumullah khairan. I hope you enjoyed I don't know what it is.
It was a chat.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, inshallah.
I enjoyed
it. See you next week for the virtual iftar. And I hope you enjoyed the shows that we have that are streaming every single day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Don't cut it on the feed. You got to do it from OBS. No.